Welcome to Hillbilly Green Show. This is your host, Maverick. We're sitting here with Jason Cossey. Jason is the two-time Arkansas State kayak champion. And what does that mean?
Well, that means that the last two state championships I've won.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first one to ever win a state championship in the state of Arkansas, and I won both of the first two back to back.
What does it take to get into? I mean, the state championship here, from what I understand, is you have to run through a whole slew of other tournaments to get into the state championship itself, because that one is just exclusive to other winners of other rounds. Is that correct?
Right. You got to go through the RTT. There's
what's that?
5 to 7 tournaments through the course of the year that you got to go through, and then the top, like 25 or 35%, or places or whatever through every tournament, and then to qualify, you can win, one. And that would automatically put you in, and
right.
You don't have to fish the rest of them if you don't want to. Then.
So, how many tournaments do you think that you were in before you went into the state championship tournament?
Oh man, as far as kayak fishing, I qualified my first year.
Okay.
So my rookie year, I qualified, and then won my rookie year. I guess it would be.
Do you remember how on your first state championship win? What was your weight?
It was inches, and I don't.
Oh, it wasn't. It's not on weight. It's on inches.
Yeah.
Is it total? Is it for what's the limit? How many fish?
5 fish.
So 5 fish, and then whoever has the most
inches.
inches.
With a 10-inch minimum, and then you just take photos.
So size does matter.
So size does matter. Size does matter.
Are they still doing that for these sequential tournaments? These other tournaments that are coming on? Are they also? It's still going to be. It's not. They're not. They're not going to change that to weight like the pros?
No, because it's too hard to be out there with your kayak. You'd have to have someone along with you every single time to take pictures and to do all that stuff. Where if we go through inches, we just lay them on a hog trough and we just measure them out and then take a picture of them. They go back in the water. Usually about 3 minutes is all we haul a fish around is long enough to take a picture of it, and it goes right back in the water. It's good for conservation. It's good for everything.
So for the listeners. For the listeners out there, what he's talking about is that you're measuring the fish, you're taking a photo of it, and you're submitting it to the tracker, which is on your phone, and you're submitting that image for the tournament.
Correct. TourneyX is the app we use a lot, and you just upload them straight onto the TourneyX site or to the tournament site or whatever.
And that's how you get it verified.
They go in, they look at the picture, all of your information, your where you were, all that stuff, your time, all that stuff. It all counts. It keeps, the honest people honest anyway.
Right. Now, I know one of the tournaments that's going on right now is the entire month of August. And now, are there certain hours in the day that you can fish, or is this 24/7 from the beginning of the month to the end of the month? Now, this is what I'm referring to is the kayak bass fishing state tourneys.
Yes,
is what I'm referring to.
Yes,
and so on that one, it's a month long.
It's a month long. Your 5 biggest fish you can catch through the course of that month.
Okay, so it's not at a certain time period.
No, you can fish at midnight, or you can fish at 12 a.m., 12 p.m. Whatever you want to. Whenever you can make it out there, which makes it kind of nice. Is you can get out there at night when there's not that many people. In August, it was really nice to get out there at night.
Yeah.
And then September, I signed up through the September one. So September 1, I'll start another month, and they've been doing them every month. So hopefully we can keep that going.
I was wondering if are people able to join these tournaments in the middle of the month?
No, you have to pay your entry fee and be in before the first day of the month. So you can't join like the last day, go out there and catch 5 lunkers and turn them in and win. No, you got to commit to it before the month ever starts, and then go on. We have some really good ways to enter, even up to the national championship level. I mean, you can. I've fished 3 years now and got in 3 times. So, qualification for that. And that's the big one. That's the biggest one, pretty much in the world as of this point.
So, when did you start doing tournaments?
I started doing tournaments. I think I was about 13 whenever I started my first tournament.
Okay.
I started fishing out of a bass boat.
Right.
And, stayed pretty competitive through that and everything. And then just about 3 years ago, I decided that I didn't want the upkeep, didn't want the payment and all the stuff for having a bass boat, so I sold it and got a kayak, which my wife told me I was crazy because
really,
I was good at what I did, but she was just like, man, what are you doing? So I did that and just haven't looked back since. I don't have to have a nice pickup and a nice boat
right,
to go and compete, in which competing is what I like to do. So,
and it's so easier to haul around a kayak than it is a boat. I mean, especially if you're gonna if you travel your kayak on your top of your car, or you've got a hitch, or like myself, I just pull mine around inside the back of my truck.
Oh yeah.
I can drive 24/7 with a kayak in the back of my truck.
And really going from dollar for dollar, comparing, owning the bass boat, paying the insurance, paying the payment, all that stuff. We actually make a little bit more money than what you would, My Subaru, I can go just about anywhere on $20 worth of gas, where it was taking $100 to fill up the boat, and
right?
Putting some in the truck,
and you don't have that personal property tax.
I don't have any personal property tax on it. Pay my taxes when I first got the boat, and that was it.
Right, right.
Don't have any kind of motor on it, so I don't have to register or anything like that. So it made the whole, and then this kayak fishing thing is going sky high. There's no telling how it's gonna wind up, because it's growing faster than even the bass boat competitive fishing started out. It took them like 20 years to hit the 100,000 mark, and in our third year into the national championship or so, it's already $100,000 is what we're fishing for this year. So
yeah, I saw. The other thing I've noticed is a lot of other YouTubers that do have fishing shows and whatnot are starting to add kayak fishing into their repertoire of content creation. They're adding kayak fishing to their video channel and stuff like that. So it's growing in a lot of different areas. What actually got you started fishing?
Oh, my dad fished. My dad fished for years before I even came along, and then he started fishing competitively, I think, and I want to say it was around the mid 70s he started fishing.
Did y'all start here in Arkansas?
Yeah, I was born here in Arkansas, and that's where I got my start at.
So what are some of your favorite lakes in Arkansas to fish?
Oh man, there's so many. It's not even because I like all of them.
Okay,
they've all been good.
Okay, let's rank up your top 5.
My top 5. The upper part of Table Rock. I love that. That's my favorite.
Okay, so that's going to be the number. Is that number 1 or number 5?
Number one's going to be the upper part of Table Rock.
Number 1, Table Rock.
Yeah.
Upper part.
Number 2 probably be Elmdale. It's just a little lake here in Elm Springs.
Really? You like Elmdale?
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been there a few times. I haven't launched out there. I've done some lakeshore fishing there, and I did okay.
Yeah.
But
we'll have to get out there and shoot some video, because it's good. It's the month of September and October is just phenomenal.
That is going to be our next trip together. We're going to go to Elmdale.
Okay.
That is so. Like it's so close to us here. Okay.
Like a great idea.
What's next?
I would say that probably. Let's see, Beaver. Of course, I cut my teeth at Beaver. I love Beaver. It's
it's home.
Some days I don't. Some days I just cuss it. But yeah, most days I do pretty well at Beaver.
Right.
There's another little lake down south, Lincoln Lake. I like it a lot.
It's called Lincoln?
Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at Lincoln. It's just a little few 100-acre lake, and it's pretty small. And I really like the small lakes.
Yeah.
And then the lake that I won the first state championship at, Atkins, that was a really good lake. It's down the other side of Russellville. And it's a big bass lake. It's a Florida strain bass lake, and it's a big bass lake.
And is it on the other side of Dardanelle?
It's on the other side of Dardanelle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just on the other side of Russellville.
Oh, right.
Yeah, headed towards Little Rock.
Huh.
It's just a little lake, and it's big, and it's little and stumpy, and it's a really good lake.
It's got some good coverage.
Yeah,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. That's less than 3 hours to get there.
Yeah. It's right at about 3 hours.
Is it right?
So,
okay.
Yeah, from us here.
Okay. Lake. So that's your top 5.
That's my top 5.
So what's your PB?
My PB is 11.4.
11.4.
Yeah, 11.4 is I've caught 5 bass over 10 pounds. My biggest one's 11.4. And I've had one bigger than that on 3 different times and never got it in a boat. But yeah, the biggest one I ever seen or had hooked was it.
Is this on a kayak or is this
This was on a bass boat.
This was on a bass boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, have yet to break double digits.
Do you remember what
kayak.
it was that you caught these lunkers on?
Yeah, spooks. I've caught
really
3 of them on spooks and the other one's on jigs.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yep. So very top or very bottom seemed like.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So do you travel outside of Arkansas very much for tournaments?
I travel some to Oklahoma and I travel some to Missouri. Just not a whole lot. There's so much option right here that traveling's really not. The big one that I go to this year, I'll probably go to the Tournament Champions down on Lake Fork.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there'll be
Lake Fork. That's
Lake Fork in Texas.
in Texas, yeah,
down by Dallas.
Right.
And then I'll be headed to Kentucky Lake the end of March to fish the national championship again.
No, see, that's an awesome place to fish. Now, that's my hometown. That's my area.
Yeah. Kentucky Lake was phenomenal. I got to spend a week on it last year, and it wasn't enough. I may try to take 2 weeks this year because it was just.
If I ever end up moving back home to Tennessee, I'm probably going to move somewhere on that lake.
I spent half my time on Barkley and half my time on Kentucky, and I liked both. You know, you go from river chain to like more lakey, big lake feeling and all that stuff. But I found most of my fish on Barkley, but a lot of people were catching them. It's cool. It's an amazing lake to have a national championship, and there's no telling where it's going to go next year.
So do you want to plug what you're doing these days?
Do I want to plug what I'm doing these days?
Yeah. You want to throw a plug out there for your business?
Yeah, we could say something about Yak Light since they do kind of help me with everything, you know, keep me lit up and keep food on the table.
Keep you lit up. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Guys, you've got to check out yaklights.com. Check it out on Facebook. This I can't tell you. I kind of, as you guys know, I go overboard on my stuff. He lit my kayak up like a damn UFO.
It looks like a UFO.
It looks like a UFO to the point to where I got pulled over by the popo trying to figure out what it was I was hauling in the back of my truck.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a ticket, but he just had to see what was in the back of my truck. He just saw this green glow coming out. He was like, "What is that?" "Oh, it's a kayak." And he goes, "I couldn't see the kayak for all the lights."
Yeah, we did kind of make yours. It does look like an alien spaceship, but it turned out pretty awesome.
I hear you got a new one, a new kayak.
I just unpackaged it today. I got a new 13.5 Feel Free.
Right.
In the winter camo, the gray camo.
Tell me what you like about these Feel Free kayaks.
Stability, first of all. I can do anything I want to off of it.
And we're big guys. We don't want to be tipping over in the water.
Yeah.
That's
I'm 6'1", 280. I don't have little kayaks. Not for me. I mean, it don't. Which I can go all the way to the 10 in the Feel Free because of the stability and all that stuff.
It's the way. I think it's the way that the hull is built. Yeah. That keeps you stable. Yeah. And, you know, me and myself, I'm not a big fan of being in the water. So, you know, I needed something that had that stability in it. And, yeah, me going in the water is just not.
You just don't like the water at all. We're lucky you take a bath, Maverick. I'm not sure. This guy does not like to be wet.
Yeah, no, I'm not real big into being into the water. Oh, I was going to ask you about have you flipped your boat? Have you flipped your kayak?
Not my Feel Free.
No.
But I had a Jackson Big Tuna.
What the?
I had a Jackson Big Tuna.
Okay, I'm like, I had a Jack and a Big Tuna. I'm like,
no,
is that a good sandwich?
No. You got it all wrong, Maverick.
Okay, so a Jackson Big Tuna is a brand and a model.
Yeah.
So you flipped that bad boy. Why did you flip it?
Because it was bad about that boat was a little rough in current. I mean, you got much current, and you got sideways. You were going over. That's all there was to it.
Yeah, I went out to Beaver for the first time in my kayak, and I had it sideways when I had a couple wake boats go by me.
Yeah.
And after about the third or fourth ripple hit me, I just shoved my paddle in the water and just did a quick turn right towards the waves.
Right.
And I realized, I mean, I don't think the Feel Free would have tipped over on me, but I didn't like the way it felt when I was getting sideswiped by these waves.
You got to get used to it. I mean, there's a lot that you got to get used to, and you haven't been in your kayak as much as me. I'll stand up on the nose of it going through those wakes. I'm not even messed up about it because I'm used to it because I've put a lot of hours in on mine.
Right.
And you'll get that way too, where you don't feel so stable. I haven't had one single wave yet that felt like it was going to turn me over or felt like that it was going to be threatening in any way whatsoever. And as far as my Feel Free goes, I haven't turned it over. I've done some pretty stupid stuff on there and haven't turned it over.
Yeah, I wasn't too freaked out. I mean, it was just the part of it. I just didn't feel comfortable. And then I saw another one coming right behind it, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna stop where I'm at, put the paddle in, and just quickly just did a 45-degree angle, and then I was right at the waves. I'm like, okay, this is better, and I'll just sit this out until these people get away.
Yeah, just nose into it. That's the easiest way to do it. And it's the ones that you don't see coming that I've turned around and seen the back of my boat and a wave come over the back of my boat or something. And it never bothered stability or never bothered anything like that. But it was just a little eerie with the,
Now, I didn't have any success catching anything at Beaver Lake. Which I was extremely surprised. I was seeing fish all over my finder, and they were everywhere. But they were more or less, they were sitting around 15 to 20 feet down. And there was just nothing I could go to get them. But then every now and then I'm seeing these like little 12 to 14-inch fish come up, grab something off the top of the water, and then go back down. I don't know if they were trout. They were brown. I have no idea what they were, but they weren't bass.
No, they weren't trout. They were probably carp.
Okay.
That's what I would guess was probably carp.
They were just,
they were brown.
There were lots of them. They were all over the place.
Yeah, that's what carp do.
I wasn't catching anything. And so I find that maybe I'm more successful at smaller lakes. And like at Lake Atlanta, which is, I'm right between Beaver Lake and Lake Atlanta here at the cave. And there almost every cast I'm pulling something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then down at Lake Sequoia, that is probably going to be in my top 5. I'd say it's probably number 3. Is
Lake Sequoia, huh?
Lake Sequoia, yeah.
That's the difference in people, because Lake Sequoia is not my favorite.
I found a hole. You have to like get through some little bitty narrow areas. It's a very low watered lake.
Yeah.
And you got to you get back in this one little area and you can catch fish all day long. And whether it's bass or catfish, they're both swimming around together, and the pads are as big as a basketball.
Wow.
They're huge. These pads. And I love fishing pads because I love top water and I love frog and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So Lake Elmdale, I would like to get on the water there. I have not put in there yet, and definitely would like to. I'm not really sure what's all in there. I've been just lakeshore fishing there.
There's lots of bass. There's catfish in there, and there's crappie, and there's all that stuff. And a lot of people that go there crappie fish and stuff like that. But it's a really, really good bass lake. Actually, this spring it fired off, and everybody that was going over there was catching, so at least one 20-inch fish to 20. I caught a 22 and a 23 in one afternoon.
Are we talking about catfish?
No, we're talking about bass.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
At Elmdale.
That's inches, not pounds, too.
Jesus, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
What are you using spinners out there?
I use some spinner baits, yeah.
What kind of spinner baits do you like?
I like, I make some, so I make my own.
Oh, wow.
A lot of times,
You know what I just found out? I just found out that War Eagle is at the top of the hill.
Yeah, it's not like 5 minutes from here.
I know. It's like a 2 or 3 blocks from the house.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know War Eagle was here in Prairie
building.
Creek.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that and stuff. So that's pretty cool. It just makes you. And then you've got Archie lures as well.
That's in Springdale.
Yeah. There are a lot of bait shops. Lures, custom lures up here in Northwest, in North Arkansas, because there's on the other side of Bull Shoals is where Dye was at.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of really awesome rods from those guys.
Well, if you look back in like some of the history of fishing or whatever, some of the best anglers in the world have come from Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of good ones are still up and coming,
Right.
I know lots of people. I know lots of kids that are like 15, 16 years old right now that are just they're hanging with the grown-ups. I mean, they're really getting with it, and I'm proud of those guys,
Right.
They come up and they listen. These the older crowd, they might take a little bit that you say to heart, but these younger kids, they listen. And that's where you got to be careful, because when they listen and they go to putting the stuff that you tell them to work, you're having to fight for your own spot.
Right.
Then, because they soak it up like a sponge, where some of us that are a little older, we sometimes get hard-headed about things and whatever and don't listen like we should. But,
right.
yeah, that's one of the things that I really like, especially in the kayak fishing, because they don't have to have a boat. They can get in their own boat and do their own thing and all that stuff. And it's really good for them, I feel.
Right.
So hoorah for the upcoming guys.
Oh, yeah. So I had this guy, I ran into a guy at Home Depot. So we got to talking, and it turns out that he does this community share thing with kids in Springdale, which is a town south of the Bear Cave here. And he had wanted to know if the Hillbilly Green Show would be interested in doing some type of a show or something with the kids on a fishing trip. And I said, by all means. And so it made me think, I'm like, man, you know who'd be the best guy to show these kids how to fish?
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to throw you under the bus here live on the show. Would you be interested in doing something like this?
Well, I can't say no now, can I? Yeah, of course. I always do. I usually, unless there's something really pressing going on, I usually hit all those functions, all those events.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That does sound like fun.
But something tells me, though, I'm going to get showed up on these kids are just probably going to outfish us.
Yeah. Actually, on the kayak trail, we have a kid, Carson McBride. He's a little stud fisherman. I mean, that's all he eats and sleeps. And people send pictures or put pictures on their Facebook when they see a kid dragging a kayak behind a bicycle.
Right.
That's usually Carson. And he's ate up with it and just a good fisherman. I mean, I have to watch my P's and Q's around him because he'll soak up whatever it is I have to say.
Oh man, that's not good.
And then he'll turn around and try to beat me with it or whatever. Got mad respect for the little guy because he's
Jeez.
He's finishing top 5 in a lot of the tournaments and stuff like that. Sometimes he and I will go tit for tat. It's pretty fun then.
Right.
But yeah.
Hey, I was going to ask you, off topic. Did you hear or see any of that McGregor Mayweather fight?
Oh my gosh. You know what? That was the silliest thing ever. I'm glad that they made a lot of money.
Yeah, they did make a couple bucks.
Because that's what it was all about,
Right.
It was a couple $100 million or whatever it was.
Right.
It was just ridiculous. If you take a guy from one sport pretty much and put him in another, and then put the old guy against the young guy, and then it's
kind of like that. It's kind of like that Michael Phelps versus the shark.
Yes,
it's kind of like that. And Phelps said it was a tough fight.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. reminds me of the old bar over there, like towards Tahlequah or whatever, where they used to have a live bear, and you could go in and wrestle the live bear. And
you're kidding me.
You can't beat a bear. I mean, you just can't do it. And
you can go wrestle a real bear?
They used to be able to.
Oh,
not now.
Jeez,
now.
I'd be there in 5 minutes, man.
We'd be gone. Wouldn't we?
Hell yeah!
We're okay, enough of the show. Let's go. We're out of here.
We're out of here. We'll continue this in the truck. Oh my God, I'd be there in a few minutes.
Yeah, but they used to do that. Get drunk and wrestle a bear and whatever. It was a trained bear and all that stuff. But they used to have it. That was several years ago. Not to say I'm old or anything like that.
I would still do it.
That was several years ago.
Well,
there's no way that Mayweather could go into McGregor's shoes.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, what if Mayweather were to go to the UFC and fight that style?
I hate to say it, he's going to get his ass handed to him.
He wouldn't last a minute.
No.
Not even a minute.
And then,
because you can't run. It's a smaller ring. You can only run so far.
And then you watch the footage and all that stuff, and McGregor pulling punches and all that stuff. I mean, it's obvious that they did it for the money. If it would have been McGregor, if it would have been a full out, McGregor would have totally.
Now, I heard that he was complaining that he didn't get knocked out. He would have preferred to have been knocked out than them stopping it. And I think the reason for that is because the mentality of a UFC fighter is, I'm fighting until someone knocks me out. Yes. This is not over until somebody's out.
Yes.
So whether it's submission or knockout, but in boxing, it doesn't work that way. No. It's all about protecting the fighter. The referees, in UFC, you can knock somebody's teeth out and his ear be hanging off, and they're still going to keep fighting.
Yep. If you're able to stand back up, you're
right. And so they don't. So the mentality of the fighter is different in UFC than it is in mixed martial arts than it is in boxing. And so the fact that he stopped the fight, kind of like, why are you stopping? I'm still alive.
Right. It's two different things.
It is, but he did not make $100 million in mixed martial arts.
But think about the entertainment value that was there and how many people watched that fight. And,
yeah, that's like the Lyle Alzado fighting Muhammad Ali back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's for entertainment purposes. Right. Everybody made money. The network made money. The fighters made money.
Right.
People were like, "Oh, I'm not buying this. This is a joke," and then they sneak in, or unfortunately, me, I didn't pay for it, but I did watch it on Periscope.
Yeah.
So
let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the fight or something.
Exactly.
Like that,
Yeah.
Or look, the fight's on. I didn't know they were having it here. No,
I
went camping. I didn't even watch it. I didn't even turn my phone on.
I'm thinking about camping. I'm thinking about that.
Beaver's a beautiful place to go.
Well, I've been looking into tents and bags, and then I'm looking at different scenarios. Should I just ordered a topper, an ARE topper for my truck.
Okay.
And so I've been thinking about converting the topper into a camper, and then, but the problem is the truck that I have is a short bed, and I'm 6'1", 6'2", so I don't really fit unless I'm at an angle.
Right.
So it's not really ideal for me, but then, there's all these different options. If you go online, you can see these, where they have tents up on top of your vehicle. Mm-hmm. Then they have tents that extend off the back of the camper, and then just standalone tents themselves. It just really depends on what you're looking for. So I'm trying to decide on, I would just really love to get back into camping. I did it when I was a kid with my dad, and I just haven't done it since.
I tent camp a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I kind of have to have an air mattress now because...
Oh, I wouldn't sleep without one. No,
because one rock in my ribs. When I was a kid, I used to be able to do that a lot. But
now, are you getting those high tech, blow up air mattresses? Or are you getting like a regular twin size air mattress and throwing it?
Whatever the cheap one is at Walmart.
Then that's just okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting the ones that blow up with the pump and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I'm a baller on a budget.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying they've got these small footprint air beds that fit your sleeping bag at like Cabela's, and they roll up into the size of a handkerchief,
no,
and and stuff like that. So, but me, I've got like blow up, mattresses like you would have for guests that come over to the house, and that's what I've been using.
That's what I use,
and so that's what I would typically use in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
So,
and then it's a lot of people that are going to hammock camping, that's a lot of fun too.
I thought about that too, but I flip. So I'm just thinking I'd eventually flip right out of the damn hammock.
Real world problems.
Well, no, because you got to think about stuff like that. First time you get in a hammock, you flip out right on top of a cougar. That's just you're having a bad day.
If you're camping with the cougars, I don't.
Does the missus go camping sometimes?
Oh, on occasion, yeah.
On occasion, it's hard to get the wives to go out camping with us. I just never have been in the situation where I was dating someone that wanted to go out and sleep in the dirt. They're like, I need an outlet. I know. I need to find somebody up here that is accustomed to the outdoors environment. I was looking at a single tent for myself, but then I thought I'd probably prefer probably a 2-person tent, because then that way it gives me more space to have my gear and whatnot. Now, what kind of wildlife in Northwest Arkansas, Southern Missouri are we looking at here, other than just your regular raccoons and skunks and stuff? I opened the garage last night and a freaking skunk ran across my driveway.
Ooh.
Man, I shut that garage door so fast I was afraid he was going to come in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you pull the handle and slam it.
He stunk. He didn't take a bath or nothing. Usually, they smell like that because they might have recently had an episode with a raccoon.
Right.
This guy was ripe.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think that smell gets me worse than anything. Some people are like, oh, it makes me sick, but that physically makes me sick.
Yeah.
Skunk.
I could just, the lights from the garage, garage light hit his eyes, and I saw him. I'm like, that's a cat. Oh my God, that's a skunk. And it was just running straight across the driveway.
Like my dog gets sprayed with a skunk. I'm probably getting a new dog. I love you, Fido, but you gotta go.
You got to go. What is it that people use to clean skunks with?
Tomato juice.
Is it tomato juice?
Yeah, and like apple cider vinegar, and
ooh,
there's so many different things that just Skunk is a skunk is a skunk.
Yeah.
It's gonna stink regardless of whatever you do.
The problem is you've got to be in there in the tub or outside or wherever with the dog to clean the dog. You can't just shove the dog in the backyard, give it a bucket of tomato sauce or ketchup, and say, "Here, clean up," and shut the door behind it.
Yeah. We'd have to load up in the truck and go to the car wash or something. I'm not sure. Not having that smell around my house.
Oh my God, that's horrific. That smelled. I was just concerned the thing was going to get in the garage and then I would never get it out.
But as far as wildlife, there's no bears or anything that's going to get you.
Wait, there's some black bears in Arkansas?
Yeah, but not where you're going to camp at, I'm sure.
I kind of have an issue with just hitting a dirt road and hooking a left.
If you go way, well, that's a lot of fun, and the chances of you getting eaten by a bear are pretty slim.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
That's right. That's right.
I don't really care.
I don't think he'd think you'd taste it very good anyway.
No. I got attitude.
Kind of bitter.
I'm kind of bitter.
Everyone, Maverick's kind of bitter.
I try to offer it like a protein bar or something, or protein shake or something, because I don't have any good groceries on my camping trips or anything like that. What are you carrying on your camping trips? Grilled cheese? I mean, ding dongs? I mean, what are you eating on your camping trips?
I'm a fat guy, but I don't eat like that. Thank you very much. Honestly, don't eat that much sweets. Every once in a while. Yeah. But I eat good when I go camping.
Yeah. Have you ever eaten those packaged Moon Army meals?
Yeah, just for fun.
Yeah.
Because when I go camping, I cook things to eat.
I have that's the other thing, is trying to find the right burner. Trying to find a good burner. They got one at Cabela's. I wanted to take a drive up to Bass Pro and see what kind of outdoor cooking burners they got up there. And then I've seen some homemade grills where you can make your own. No, I've seen this one YouTube where somebody took the spokes from a bicycle.
Yeah.
And then they made their own portable grill where they took all the spikes, they drilled holes into this half-inch pipe, and then you just stick the spokes in there, and then that's your grill. You set that on top of your rocks, and then when you're done, you can take them out and put them all in the pipe, and then store that away real easy. Because for me, I'd like to be as compact as possible. What would be ideal is to do kayak fishing / camping, to where I can have my camping gear on my boat, go fishing, find a place to pull off and camp for the night, and then you know what I mean.
See, now you're hitting that's what I like.
That's
right there.
That's what I'd like to do.
Enough stuff. Just shove a dry bag with a sleeping bag in there. By the time you're done fishing for the day and it's time to, sleep or whatever, you're tired enough. You don't notice all the rest of the stuff anyway. Going to the Buffalo. I've always wanted to go to the Buffalo and float it from where you can put in till you get all the way to the White River. I want to float the whole thing someday. They say it's about a week long float if you really enjoy it. You can do it faster without. But
I went to the White River this past weekend. And I went down there, and it was right below the dam, and there was just tons of people out there fishing for trout, and it looked great. And I was like, man, I think I want to float this thing. Yeah. So I was thinking about unloading and putting a kayak in the water, and then Game and Fish was there, and I asked them if I was able to buy a trout stamp, or can I float this? He goes, well, if you have fishing gear and you don't have a stamp, even if you don't catch any, to even float in the water with fishing gear in trout, waters, you still need to have that permit. I'm like, damn. Yep. So I went, he goes, but you can go online and add that to your fishing license. So I went online and I pulled in, it took me about 30 minutes to get a good Wi-Fi signal because I was in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And by the time I did, I went and I checked it out. It turns out I got a permit. I had already bought it. I just didn't know it.
I could believe it.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that I had the permit. I could have just put in right there. But here's the thing about rivers. So I did a test run in the Illinois River here in Arkansas. I don't know why they call it the Illinois River and it's in Arkansas, but there's the Indiana, Illinois. So I went in I put in, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I could just float this thing, and I'm like, holy cow, this thing is. It didn't even look like there was hardly a current at all.
Right.
And I'm already like 50 yards from where I put in. I'm like, oh my God, I think I need to go the other direction and float back to my truck.
Well, most of the time it's good to kayak with a buddy anyway, and then you take two vehicles and put one at the upper and one at the lower.
That's what I was trying. Yeah, so I figured out, do not kayak a river if you have no way of getting back.
Well, that's paddling up current is not all that fun.
Yeah, and that rudder system doesn't make a dang bit of difference.
No, it makes no difference whatsoever.
I probably spent an hour in a tree and stump, grounded, my rudder getting chewed up, my park pole just going all over, beating the living daylights out of me. I had rods breaking off. It was a horrific scene. It was a epic fail meme for kayaking by yourself on a low current creek, river, whatever. And I finally got back to where I got in, and I said, forget this.
Well, but I told you I'd help you with that stuff.
I didn't. This was my very first time doing that. This is my very first time putting in at a river.
Experience is a great teacher, isn't it?
Or creek, or whatever the hell that thing was called.
You went to Illinois, so they consider that one a river.
They consider that a river?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looked amazing for fishing, but I probably scared off every fish within 3 miles. By all the racket I was making. But I will tell you this, for those of you who have not considered this in your kayak fishing, and also if you are diabetic, I would highly suggest going onto Amazon and getting some waterproof socks. Because I got some waterproof socks that come up about half calf, and in this episode of this horrific river adventure that I was on, I had to get in the water, and after I got in the water, and I was like over the knees deep in the water, and when I got up on the shore, I checked my feet, and at the very top of the sock, maybe an inch below the top of the sock was wet. After that, everything was completely dry. My feet were completely dry. Nice. And those things are just lifesaver, amazing. And me recovering from a foot injury, it was a very big deal to me. So kayak safety, not just for someone with my condition, but for anybody, is extremely important. What kind of things would you tell people that...
We could do a whole...
we can do a whole thing on kayak safety.
We could spend a whole hour just on kayak safety, because I am a pretty big stickler for kayak safety. I actually do some teaching of kayak safety and stuff like that. So, we've got about 15 more minutes. So there's a few things that we carry on our kayaks that are really, really lifesavers sometimes. A dry bag with an extra change of clothes. That's a pretty important thing.
I haven't done that.
When you are preparing to go and to get into the kayak thing, especially going to a river or something like that, the thinking ahead is what's really going to save you. Like, instead of wearing a cotton, try to get something that's breathable, that dries quick, that, like a cotton t-shirt. When you put it on, you can be out there in 80-degree weather and you fall in and you feel cold.
Right.
And hypothermia, you may not think that there's times, but at night, you can actually get hypothermia at night, even as warm as the nights are now. So wear clothes that are going to be breathable.
So I've been using those dry fit and sun protection UV shirts, and those are breathable and they protect me from the sun. I'm real fair complected, so I burn like a stick.
Yes.
So what other things?
And then and wearing those thin layers, you can layer up.
Right.
If you get to feeling cold or you can take a layer off, or you can put a layer on, and that material, thin layers, goes a long way.
Right.
Of course, there's the first aid kit. A person needs a first aid kit all the time. Band-Aids and just the essentials.
My first aid kit is. I think I could do triage with my first aid kit. My triage. I think my dry bag for first aid is as big as my dry bag for rain gear and rope.
Yeah. You don't underdo anything. I've not seen you underdo anything yet. Like, not even borderline. You're like, okay, So he said I needed 10 Band-Aids. I want to buy like a package of 200.
Exactly. I probably got about 100,
like
150 different types of Band-Aids for different types of situations.
Well, see, you're the guy that I like to go with because you've got everything you can think of. See,
I don't like it. That's something else I would like when I was, so I posted a photo of my kayak on Facebook and on Instagram. And I joke about it being a little overboard. And some guy had come up to me. He was launching his boat, and he comes up. And he's like, "Wow!" He's looking at the setup, and he goes, "Is there room in there for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's just that when I'm out there, I don't want to not need something. Like, oh, I wish I would have brought this rig, or man, I wish I would have brought that, or man, I wish I would have brought that other camera so I could have taken this kind of a shot. Or something of that nature. So I want to make sure. There's no reason that you need a Lowrance 7 Ti on a kayak. This is a bass boat fish finder, and I've got it on a kayak.
Yeah.
I mean, I can map the moon with this thing.
Right. Well,
But I can find the fish.
Better to have too much than not enough, I guess.
Exactly, not to have enough.
Now, one of these days, I'll teach you how to use it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on training on how to do setups, and everybody has their different things, and creating the different types of sensitivities and the different patterns. And I thought, oh, cool, green. And actually, on the fish finders, they have all these different palettes, these color palettes, and you don't just pick one because it's cool color. And I'm like, green for Hillbilly Green. No, actually, you pick blue for this situation. You pick the grays for this.
Yes.
And so it takes time. I'm still learning. That was pretty much the majority of my trip for Beaver Lake when I launched, was just to figure out. I wanted a big enough difference in water and terrain under the water to be able to see all those differences on the fish finder, so that I could learn more things. And Beaver Lake was definitely, so I really wasn't there to catch any fish. I would have loved to, but it was more to just see the different types of terrain, because a lot of the smaller lakes that I fish, it's not a lot of changing.
When I go someplace new, that's one of the things that I do is I'll paddle around and I'll look at my graph and I'll figure, because you can figure out, of course the most important is water temperature, and then you've got, depth and all that stuff. And I've got mine rigged where I can see the thermocline and all kinds of stuff,
Right.
And then finding where the fish are positioned, if they're suspended, if they're on the bottom, if they're on the top, you get a pretty quick idea of what it is that you need to do at that point.
Right.
And having a nice graph, that's just, I'm probably going to upgrade my graph here real soon too, because having a nice graph, it's really nice.
We were talking about safety, and another thing I wanted to touch on for kayakers out there, and especially the new ones that are thinking about this, is you can never have enough rope in your kayak. And I'm not just talking about paracord, but I'm talking about actual rope. If something happens and you need to be towed out, and somebody needs to tow your kayak, or if you need to, or even just tying up on shore for your kayak or something of that nature.
Well, see, that's kind of a double-edged sword right there, because ropes and water and current and stuff like that don't mix. They really don't mix.
What do you mean?
A rope can be one of the most dangerous things that you've got on your kayak at any given time.
How's that?
Well, let's see.
Well, mine's in a dry bag. I only use it when I would need to pull it out to tie up to a tree, or to get towed into shore or something of that nature.
But that's you.
Okay.
That's the way you do it. You keep it tucked away nice and neat. And
are you talking about people having it out in the open?
Style. Yeah. But as far as current and as far as water, ropes are a bad idea. They're horrible ideas. You get tangled up and you drown. That's what happens. You get current, you get tangled up.
Oh,
you drown.
You're talking about if it's out in the open on your boat and you tip and then you get all wrapped up. Yeah,
exactly. But now
I do have a lot of leashes on my boat.
Now a throw bag, like a throw bag's, it contains a rope, and you can actually open it up and you can actually do a rescue with it. That's an amazing idea.
I haven't learned how to do that yet. I need to take one of your rescue classes.
That would be good.
Yeah,
that would be good. And there's
that means I got to go in the water though, right?
You're gonna have to get in the water.
That's why I got the dry socks. Good to go.
We got dry socks.
I got dry socks and a nice PDF.
Yeah, that's
PFD.
PDF is like a
PDF is a file.
A file.
See, I get too much tech in my world.
Yeah. I'm just blown away.
Yeah.
Too much tech.
So you just need to make sure that you keep yourself organized on your boat and put away.
And that's a big thing. Organization. Yeah. I'm not the most organized, but I do the same thing all the time, and it's regular thing. When I cut a bait off and don't put it away right away, I know where all that stuff is, so I don't get tangled up in it, and I don't, because that's a dangerous thing, And then there's so much on the safety aspect that would take us forever to go through all of it that I really kind of want to go through, but and we'll do that another time. We'll go through a whole safety, and
we'll do another episode
like
when you get some time. And I know you got a really busy schedule with your tournaments and your yak lights, and you are now building out your new Feel Free. Yeah, you're excited about that
brand new 13.5. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Although I'm pretty minimalist, especially compared to what you've got on yours. But
I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking I need to take a bunch of it off.
He walks up into the kayak shop and is like, "I want every bell and whistle. If it dings or if you think I need it,
no,
you
I just think you guys. I just think that the shop saw me coming, and they're like, "Oh, he needs this. Hey, you want this? Okay. Hey, you might want this. Really? Why? Yeah, well, you could do this, that, and the other." And I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, I think the shop just saw me coming, and they sold me quite a bit of stuff.
A lot of good it's doing now.
Yeah, well, yeah. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for being on the show. We're going to have you back. Yes. Awesome. We'll have you back, do some more shows. And for everybody out there, if you are not a subscriber to the Hillbilly Green Show, please check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Hit that like button and tell your buddies about it. And we will see you guys next time.
Yeah.
All right. Later.